Hey, just wanted to jump on and give you a piece of critical advice. This is for anyone who is struggling with interviews, struggling with asking for pay rises, struggling to be heard at work. Hey, it's even for people struggling to be heard at home because this is all communication, right? Just to give you the context, I recently had a one-off career session with a chap. Never worked with him before, but he'd been recommended to me. And he'd been out of work for 3 years. Great guy, loads of skills, loads of experience, but just wasn't able to secure that job. Now, there's no way I can condense a full 90-minute session, but I will tell you one piece of advice that came up that even stopped me in my tracks, and it made me think I need to tell more people about this. And it's a really obvious one when you say it out loud. But you're existing in a world of people who haven't learned how to communicate beyond learning our language, so our first language. How many people have learned how to understand the person in front of them instantly as well? How to sit there and know what that person needs and be able to adapt who you are to be able to deliver it. Who does that? Just a clue, by the way, my clients. So anyway, here's the piece of advice without further ado. If you're in a world of already inadequate communicators, and by God you are, every single person watching this, you are, then you need to be the better communicator. So you need to be, so let's take the interview scenario. I told this chap, he's probably been interviewed by people that have no clue how to interview and that are reading off a piece of paper about what they should or shouldn't ask. And that is the bare bones of it. So actually he needs to be the more responsible person, not the interviewer. As the interviewee, he needs to be the better communicator. And it is really possible. I gave him an example of an interview that I had decades back where I already knew the people interviewing me were pretty much just ticking boxes on a sheet. And it wasn't giving me the opportunity to be able to display who I was and how I could add value to their business. So I took control of the interview in a very gentle but confident way. I asked for their permission to answer a different question to what they'd asked me, only slightly, and I told them what I wanted to answer instead and how it would still tick what they needed to tick and give them a better understanding of who I was and what value I might add. They said yes. They said go for it. So we all won. I mean, they were a little bit flabbergasted, to tell you the truth. But it worked. I got the job. Not only did I get the job, they doubled the salary that was on offer and they doubled my salary at the time. So that's a win for me. But it made me realise that we just don't need the permission slip we think we need. We don't need to think they're in a position of authority and I'm the one begging for something. This is a mutual interview. You are interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you, and you need to remember that going into the interview. This is not a disproportionate power imbalance here. You both have power. You get to choose whether you take the job, you get to choose whether you don't take the job, as much as they get to choose whether they offer it or not. So just to reiterate, because we communicate about our communication when we're effective communicators. Try saying that when you've had a drink. Just to reiterate, the point is that you're in a world full of inadequate communicators. So you need to be better if you want your needs being met. And that could be the job interview, being heard by your partner, being heard by your children, being heard by your boss, getting the promotion, getting the pay rise, whatever. But it starts with you making the adaptations, not them. And you need to make them so they see and hear how amazing you are, non-negotiably. And if you need my help, here I am.